Okay, maybe I'll stick you over here and bring you a little bit closer. A little bit closer. Okay. Alrighty then. So I'm going to give it a moment or two and let folks jump on. Um, I hadn't been live in quite a while. Oh, I guess I should, since that is the case, go do that. I'll do that. Let's see. Oops, 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 oops. Okay, there we go. I shared it. Wow. I shared my live. There we are. Shared it. Because it's earlier than I'm normally on. It's way earlier than I'm normally on. And it's like, but why? Why are you on so early? Because the kids are at the house. And I want to do this while it was quiet. I want to do it while it was quiet. My mind's a bit quiet. And kind of make sure that that I have it the way I want it. So, hi, for those who are new here, hi, I'm Ianifa Owini Adina Durusimi for Omi Shango. I am an Ifa priestess and spiritual awakening doula for the Black American diaspora. And last week, chill, we was busy. Last week we were busy. Last week we were so busy in a most beautiful way. We were busy in a really, really beautiful way. My students came into town, and that was an amazing thing because most of them I had never met in person. I have been doing from self to source with E5 for just over a year now. And so being able to actually connect with people who I have been mentoring, teaching, guiding, supporting in person was really dope. It was really cool to have everybody kind of come here and stay with me so they and let's do some work together in person. So that was a really, really cool experience. Um, I got to have some beautiful ceremonies with them. And it was just really nice to actually have my students here in person. I have one student that actually lives here, and then I have one that lives really close. She lives about 20, 30 minutes away. And that's it. The next closest one is in North Carolina. And it was funny because my mom asked me, like, where's everybody coming from? Like, you have all of these students, where's everybody coming in from? And I told her, like, only three. Only two are within 30 minutes of my house. All the rest of my students, all the rest of my omos, actually live someplace else. Alafia, Agbo Ato. I hope you're having a beautiful Oshe Ola, Oshe Ifa today. So this past weekend, being able to share space with them, being able to spend time with them, and us share that energy together was just like it was a really cool experience. I'm looking forward to us being able to come together again. I'm looking forward to being able to see even more of them in person because all of our work is almost all virtual. So being able to actually get them all here in one place was beautiful. And one of the things I ended up doing as a gift, because I invited my god siblings to come and support this past weekend, and have some of my a friend of mine who is a Babalawo to also come help and support me. And let's just before I talk about like from self-love and spirituality and Ifa, let me just talk about being supported by a Black man and a way that is not so often you hear people talk about relationships and they talk about the traditional, and I'm just like, I always want to say, well, whose tradition? Whose tradition? And it was beautiful to have someone who was held so much knowledge and wisdom still push me to the forefront. This was my ceremony to lead, my weekend to show up up and stand up as an Ianifa and birth these new owls, and to be able to do that, and even with all of their experience, come through and like, this is your show. Let me know where you want my support. Man, look. So for those of y'all who maybe you're looking for a Babalawo, maybe you're looking for a Babalawo, and you're concerned because the only interactions that you have had with them are ones where they've been sliding in your DMs or things of that nature, or you want to, especially as Black women in America, specifically because my Ile is outside of two, nothing but Black women. My Ile is Black womb holders only at present. And to be able to have someone recognize this space and just uplift everybody, like just all of y'all, powerful, amazing. Like, they're not all the same. If you're looking for an elder, whether that's an Ianifa, a Babalawo, not all the same. Not all lineages are going to be the same. They're not all going to be the same. So being able to recognize which lineage is for you. Are you someone who has received divination and you're being called to the priesthood, but the lineage for which you get the divination for would not allow you to fulfill that destiny? You have a choice to make. You have a choice to make. You have to decide whether or not this is the place where you're supposed to be, or do you need to be guided to a different lineage? So it was really beautiful, and I'm just really grateful. But I need y'all to know they're not all the same. When you consult of your head, you get your ancestors, your Egun, your Egbe, your Ori, and say, hey, I'm looking for an elder. This is what has been told to me. This is what's coming up in terms of divination, readings, things like that on my path. I need an elder that is going to nourish me and guide me and teach me so that I can fulfill my destiny in the way that it is supposed to be fulfilled. I need an elder that's going to guide me and help me order my own footsteps in a way that is going to put me on path, which for my good fortune with my Ire. Because their person that you talk to may be an amazing diviner. That does not make them a good teacher. They may be an amazing diviner. That does not mean they're a good teacher. The same thing can be said in the other regard. It doesn't, someone that's a good teacher may not be an amazing diviner. You have to know what's priority for you. Do you want someone that's going to teach and help you understand the wisdom and the medicine and the being nurtured into Ifa? Or are you looking for someone that's going to be able to just go to the pomp and circumstance, the ritual, the divination, the magic? What is it that you're looking for? Or are you looking for someone that can give it to you whole? That is a balance of Akoda and Aseda, and it's able to do both, and you have to be able to do that. Do you want a Babalawo? Do you want a Ianifa? You have to go pay attention to the lineage and traditions, because some traditions do not have Ias. And if you are someone that's looking for an Ia, if you are Black in America, are you looking for a tradition that where you're going to have to travel to Nigeria or any other country? Are you looking for someone that's in the States that you can come to and actually commune with in person periodically on a much more consistent basis? What are you looking for? And being able to recognize that what you're looking for will help you align to the elders spiritual community. But if you don't know what you're looking for, then you can end up in a community and it's not the community for you. You can end up in a community that's not your community because you didn't really communicate thoroughly what it is that you're looking for in your spiritual journey. And sometimes that's hard. Sometimes you don't really know. And that is why Ori work is most important, even before you get an elder, So segueing into the topic, which was, is self-love plus spirituality equals Ifa? This came to me, I guess probably since I've been birthing this temple. And the first came with self-love as an act of worship. and you are the altar to the divine. And it is the notion that because you are the Most High, the Creator, the Source in human form, when you perform acts of self love, when you walk in the energy of self love, you are essentially walking in the energy of loving the Creator, loving the divine. And is when we do acts of self love, these are our offerings. These are our offerings to the Creator. Anytime we are learning about ourselves, we are learning about how the Creator manifests in us as us, and honoring that is that's our offering. That's our offering to Spirit, because the Creator didn't come bodied as you and somebody else and to be exactly the same. So learning how you are different, because self is how you are different from somebody else. That's what the definition of self is. Self is what makes you different, what makes you unique, what makes you special. How are you different from everyone else? That is self. Love is the enjoyment, the admiration, the adoration, the strong positive feelings around that a thing. So that's what self-love is. And that is in fact an act of worship. How are you as a beautiful creation different and special? And so when you look at that and then look at the principles, and when I say Ifa, I'm going to speak more traditional, more Isheshe specifically. Um, it's Olodumare and your Ori. It is God and then your consciousness. It is God and then the aspect of you that recognizes its connection to the Creator. And it is that connection that you nurture first. You nurture the connection with your consciousness first before any other connection in your spiritual court. You nurture the connection with your consciousness first. You get to know you first. You venerate you first. You honor you first. You consult of you first. In order to do that, you have to build a relationship. You have to establish a rapport even within yourself. You have to establish a rapport even within yourself. So with Ifa, it is this rapport with yourself, this connection with yourself that allows you to open the ways for your good fortune. It is the connection with yourself that allows you to open the ways for your good fortune, because it doesn't matter what deity that you're venerating. It doesn't matter what part of your spiritual court you're trying to tap into. If you have not first gone to yourself, started with you first, none of those blessings are going to come to you the way that they need to, because you have not worked with yourself to see what is it that's supposed to be coming to you. What is it that you're supposed to be having? So then you have this act of self-love is like learning to see what is my destiny, because your Ori holds your destiny. Your Ori holds your Akashic records. So now you're learning about what this is. What is this that I'm trying to connect with? What are these blessings? What is a good fortune? What are these things that truly are the things that my spirit chose before inhabiting this human body? What is it that is like, okay, these are the things that you wanted to do in this life. These are the things, these are the people that you wanted to meet, the things that you wanted to experience. Then comes into spirituality. Then you pair that with your spiritual practice. So this is your morning invocations or morning prayers. This is your affirmations. This is you doing your shadow work. This is you taking time to give offerings even to yourself. It is not the clothes that you wear in part, but in totality, it's not the clothes that you wear. It is, who are you as an individual? What are the work that you're doing to support yourself as an individual? And then what is the work that you're doing to make a relationship between you and the divine? It's not the decor in your house. It's not all them crystals around your neck, because in the grand scheme of things, they are there to support and amplify what is you. And if you haven't been able to amplify yourself without all of those tools and things, then those crystals are just decoration. They look good. They say to somebody, you like to invest in crystals. They say to somebody, you might be on a spiritual walk, but you could just be doing cosplay. That's what they say. What you do and how you live and how you move as yourself, that is the work. That is the actual spiritual practice. The thing about Ifa that I love most is, one, it's Ifa, Isheshe is a religion. Like, I really need people to understand what words mean when they say, well, I don't do religion. Do you believe in a higher power? If the answer is yes, if you believe in a higher power, you are religious. Point blank, period. If you believe in a higher power, you're religious because that's what the word means. The word means you have a belief in a higher power. Outside the dogma and traditions and rituals and all of those things is what differentiates one religion from another. But if you believe in a higher power, you're religious. What you do with being religious is your spirituality. How you connect to spirit is your spirituality. Those two things are not supposed to be separate. If you believe in a higher power, and you believe that higher power, unless it's currently in form, in matter, like in your human form, another person's human form, and the animals and trees, outside of that, when it's in its complete state, that its natural state of spirit, then spirituality is a recognition of it. And the most important relationship, if you are religious, is the one with your source, spirit. So religion and spirituality haven't always were supposed to be going together. Greetings. The reason why people have a connection because you have only heard about certain religions, and because you've heard about these specific religions, you have made them the definition of religion. They're not. They are a type, just like the ATRs are types of religion. Isheshe is a type of religion. There is only one God, and everything else is an emanation and a reflection, aspiration of that God consciousness reflected in nature, in yourself, et cetera, et cetera. But there's still only one source and one creator, which is by and large the way most of the world's religions see themselves. Just because there's three that share a similar image doesn't mean the other ones don't believe in one God. It just isn't that image of God. And so spirituality is not supposed to be better or worse than religion. It's supposed to work with it. It's supposed to work with it. If you have a practice where you get up in the morning and you say some prayers, regardless, your prayers to God, the universe, the most high goddess, whatever that looks like, you have your prayers in the morning. You may you have a ritual. It's a routine. You're consistent. You charge your crystals. You don't just have them in your house. You actually talk to them. You breathe on them and tell them what it is that you want. You set those intentions. You have your moon water. You are cultivating a personal religion. You're cultivating a personal religion. It's just not everyone else's. And the idea that as Black Americans, that when we leave Abrahamic religions, we're going we're leaving organized religion is also a misnomer. Why? Like, if you learn about ATRs, it doesn't matter which one, but you actually learn there is structure, there is hierarchy, there are systems, there are traditions, there are things. They are organized. The idea that something is not organized because it is not attached to an Abrahamic tradition is nothing but colonizer speak. You don't leave organized religion just because you went to ATR. You left Abrahamic religion. Those two things are not the same. Leaving organized religion, and even in that regard, even if you don't go to an ATR and you're just doing something on your own, but you have this consistent, these are your belief systems, these are what you do with these belief systems, you're consistent in that, you are honoring spirit, you are honoring yourself, you have a religion. And if you are consistent in how you do it, it is also organized. The idea that we leave organized religion is a supremacist mindset. We don't leave organized religion. We just shift which religion we are resonating with. We shift which one is speaking to our souls. That's what happens. We don't leave organized religion. You just aren't doing that religion. That's it. You're just not doing that one. So when it looks like Isheshe, we're honoring our Ori. And then when you recognize every aspect of the tradition and spiritual practice, it's in support of you walking as your full self, walking in your Iwa Pele, your good and gentle character. When you look at good and gentle character, the word character sticks out, and the word character is walking in your good character. It's walking as who you are. Character is about who you are, how you show up. And walking in your good and gentle character means you are walking in your full authenticity. You are walking in the being of yourself. You're walking in the being of yourself. There is no bad guy in Isheshe. There's no devil in Isheshe. So there's no one to blame. Once you start doing your work, see, when you don't know better, it's okay. You can only do what you know. Once you know better, you now are in a space of you are personally accountable for your co-creation process. And you don't understand your co-creation process if you're not also on a journey of spiritual self-awareness, learning who you are. As you continue upon the journey and you are learning to commune with your ancestors, because that'll be next. You're doing the Ori work, you're communing with yourself. So then you're communing with your ancestors. Ancestor veneration work is self-love work. Why? Because you are your ancestors, at least the biological ones. You are the ancestors of your ancestral court that are biologically related to. They are in your blood, they are in your bones. You inherit gifts, talents, personality quirks from your ancestors. You are a collective manifestation of the ancestors that came and lived before you. When you venerate your ancestors, you are venerating and honoring the parts of you that you hold within yourself, even if you haven't fully learned how to tap into them. That in turn is also self-love work, because ancestor veneration is not simply just sitting at the altar and giving them offerings. It's also, who were they? What can you try to learn? And in the diaspora, that is challenging for us in the diaspora because we've been so disconnected from a lot of that information. So we do the best that we can. And that's why those of us who are not mediums and oracles, we get ancestor readings so that we can learn more about who our ancestors were and try to capture some of that information. And when we do that, we in turn end up learning more about ourselves. That's why ancestor veneration is also self-love work. That's why it's also self-love work. So now you've got your Ori work, which is honoring your consciousness. You're honoring your ancestors, which is the blood and the bones and the information that helps support your consciousness. The success of you in this life vibrates outward, forward and backward, and in the current space. Ancestor veneration moves energy forward. It causes healing backward because time is not linear. So it's all happening simultaneously. You doing your ancestor veneration work honors you now, honors them then, and allows you to push forward, allowing you to push forward. So allowing yourself to be in that energy, that is also self-love work. When you start learning about your egg it is the same way. When you learn about your egg and which egg you're in and the qualities of that egg and what character traits you have inherited from being of that egg and you learn how to move in that energy. Again, this is everything. Your orishas are part of you. When you go to initiation, for those that came to see me this past week, I didn't give them an orisha. I may have given them some tools to have as a focal point for their orisha. But the orisha that they activated, I just opened the gate. It was already cracked. I just fully opened the gate for them so that they can more fully embody the orishas in which they are meant to be cultivating relationship while to support their destiny. All of the orishas are part of your personality. All of them. You manifest all of them throughout your whole entire life. You're just not always consciously aware of the fact of how they're moving for you. But when, for instance, yesterday, was it yesterday was Wednesday? Yeah, yesterday was Wednesday. So yesterday morning, when I knew that my ex was going to be dropping my kids off, and they had said something to me the night before that really irked my spirit. And thankfully, yesterday was also, I was like, oh, Batala, I'm going to need a little bit of that coolness. I'm going to need to pop off on my ex. So it was cool. They were quiet and I was cool and all things were well. When I felt like I needed to say something. And I but I needed to make sure I said the right things because sometimes, righteous anger is a thing. Righteous anger is definitely a thing. So who am I going to call on? I got a few I can choose from. It can be Oya, it can be Shango, it can be Ogun. It kind of depends on which way I'm trying to go. When I'm trying to get through something because I feel like something is a challenge, something is an obstacle, I am wielding the machete. Ogun's not wielding the machete. I'm holding the machete. Ogun is just helping me with the swing. Ogun just helps me with the swing so I can make sure I knock down the appropriate obstacle on my path so I can continue on my good fortune. Because that obstacle right there might need to stay there. But this one right here, oh, that needs to come down so that I can go around the other one. So helping me to discern which obstacle is the spirit of discernment, which would be issue. We have all of the Orishas already living within us. So you're not no one's giving you something you don't already have. You are opening up a pathway that's not fully open. It's just a trickle of the energy. But then when you come and make more, you need more. You might need that full blast of that energy so that you can more fully manifest it because there's a character trait that you are trying to improve upon that's going to better align you with your destiny. So for those who can see my name in full, it's Ianifa Owini Adina Durosimi Fa Omi Shango. Baba Shango journey was through learn, accept, and walk in his leadership. When I don't appreciate him living my life. I was like, bruh, because when you let them give you stereotypes, and this is one of the things that my temple is letting go of. When they let you get some stereotypes, the only thing you concern yourself with is, oh, he flashy. Everybody see him when he walked in the room. Oh, he's a lady. All those things. You miss the fact that he's a master at divination. You miss the fact that he's extremely wise and a wizard. You miss the fact that he's a woodworker. So then you get all of these other traits that you're missing, and you don't understand why you're being called to this particular energy because only thing you've ever heard is the box. You've only heard the box that colonization has allowed him to sit in. And thankfully, the way that Ifa and the Orishas and Oludumare have been speaking to me is that I am going to shatter the box. So then I get to see and experience them more fully in who they are. So then I had a better understanding. Shango has an association with Uranus and Aquarius. I'm an Aquarius sun. Of course I was going to need Shango. Just that little bit of extra right there. Of course I was going to need Shango because I'm an Aquarius. And the journey of the Aquarius being the sign of I know. Aquarius is a sign of I know. Aquarius pours knowledge onto earth. When it is raining, there is knowledge and wisdom raining upon Mother Earth. So Aquarius is raining knowledge on Earth, and they're ahead of the game. They know things that other people don't know because they're that close to source. They know things other people don't know, so that's why they're so close to they're close to source energy. They know the things others don't know. They are a master at most esoteric and metaphysical concepts. If they don't know it the moment they learn it, they learn it fast. But they want to hide. Aquarius are cool being behind the scenes. I don't need to stand in the front of the class. I'm going to sit right here in the middle and be surrounded. Their sibling is Leo. Leo is the sun. The sun shines, period. The sun don't ask nobody's permission. When I finish this topic, I'll see if I got some time to talk about angel numbers. When the sun is shining, period, that's Leo energy. True Leos, when they're operating in their light, don't have to announce they're a Leo. Their energy speaks for themselves. No one that's truly operating in the highest form of Leo energy has to announce that they are a Leo. Everybody will already know that they're a Leo. They are the king. In the zodiac, they are the divine masculine. There's masculine signs, but Leo is the divine masculine. That is action. They are creative. They lead. It's the sign of I lead. So the part with Aquarius and Leo, when you look at that spectrum, it's I lead because I know. Being able to find harmony in being the leader and being the humanitarian. Loving yourself enough to know that you are worthy to lead because you are a forward thinker. That is the lesson that Aquarians are learning, especially Aquarian sun and rising. So when you look at that and understand that Shango is associated with Aquarius, you'll see that it's exactly Shango's journey. Learning that he is absolutely supposed to be the king. He was absolutely supposed to be the leader because of his wisdom, because of his power, because of his strength, and because of his character. He was supposed to lead. That is why I needed Shango, because I would be leading and not understand why I was being put in these positions to lead. I will be leading and not understanding why am I being put in these positions to lead. So that is why that happens. That is why Ifa, Isheshe specifically, is self-love plus spirituality. It is when you come to know yourself, embrace what you know about yourself, walk in the fullness of yourself that allows you to experience the fullness of who you are. Because Shango walked and lived as who he was and was a good and honorable man and king, that is what allowed him to ascend to being in Orisha. This is what allows you in your life to ascend to being the most divine aspect of who you are supposed to be. That is what that is for. And the reason why you do this in a way from the foundation of the self, what Ifa is the soil. The roots of you are the tree growing, whatever kind of tree you want to be, oak tree, baobab tree, iroko tree, whatever of the trees that you want to be. But you're the tree growing, you're stretching out, reaching out to the cosmos, to the fullness of your destiny. The roots of your tree is self love. The soil that you're planted in is Ifa, the wisdom of nature, absorbing all that wisdom so that you can nourish yourself through self love. You take in all that soul food from Ifa. Divination is simply a tool to help guide you. It's your roadmap. It's your roadmap. You get the Odus and they are all metaphysical concepts. So Ifa is self-love, Ifa is religion, Ifa is a culmination of traditions that grow, evolve, shift, and change. Let me say that again. That grow, evolve, shift, and change. And then you have the metaphysical knowledge that our ancestors had. I saw something and somebody was I can't remember who it was. They were talking about something, and I'm like, well, if I already knew that, the Europe already knew that. They had that knowledge pre-colonization. That was already built. There's a whole Odu for that. There's a whole Odu for that. The Odu speaking through the wisdom of nature. And the wisdom of nature is not just physical, it's metaphysical, and understanding that the Odu you get, depending on what its purpose was, if just it's a regular divination or whatever, that's a roadmap. And it's a roadmap that shows you all the easy trails to follow. It shows you the bumps on the road. It's like, okay, this is the map. Okay, and according to this map, there is what is it called? A speed trap a few feet ahead. So when you get to about this point, you're gonna want to slow down and watch what you're doing. You're gonna want to slow down because this part is it's a speed trap right here, and then you continue to keep going on the journey. And you're like, okay, I've gotten to the speed trap. Now what else is there? Okay, cool. So you want to go on the left and not the right side of the road, because if you drive on the right side of the road, there's some rocks coming. You can't not go through where these rocks are falling down. But if you trust me and drive on the left side of the road, those rocks are not going to hit you. If you just drive on the left side, the right left side of the road, those rocks are going to come, but they're going to come on the right lane. So stay in the left lane. That is what divination does. That is what our ancestors used divination for, is to give us a roadmap. Because Oldumare, the Most High, God, Source, the Creator, in all of her there infinite wisdom, said, "Yo, I'm about to go and I'm gonna create all this stuff. And first and foremost, I'm going to delegate. So I'm going to also embody all these aspects of myself. So I'm still myself, but I'm also all these aspects of myself. But that's how I'm going to be able to delegate. And so all of these aspects of myself all have a role to play, all have jobs to do. Cool. Now, what I'm also going to do on this particular planet here, I'm going to call this planet Earth. On this particular planet here, I'm also going to embody the creatures on the planet, including the ones that I'm going to call people. The people are going to be interested because when I enter that people form, I'm kind of going to forget I'm God. And so while I'm in the people form and I've forgotten I'm God, I'm going to need all of y'all to be looking out for me. Don't let me do nothing stupid. Like just whisper to me or something. Somehow I'm going to get the message. Don't let me do nothing stupid. And I'm going to make sure that there are other people who have a resonance with their self energy to where they can hear the knowledge and the wisdom in a way that they can actually help other people not do nothing stupid. So the divination is simply a way that was put in place so that people didn't do anything stupid. They didn't do anything stupid. That's why we had so many oracles. That's why the oracles existed, the civils. That's what their role was, is to keep their village, their town, their nation, their tribe, whatever they needed to call it. It was to keep them from doing something stupid. And if you can't tell, at some point they stopped listening because, people gone people. And at some point they stopped listening. They stopped listening and, well, looky there. Whatever could that be? Oh yeah, we're gonna let some people come over into our nation and trick us, and a lot of history. Indeed, it's guidance. So that's was the part that I wanted to share. It's like self-love and Ifa being a self-love tradition. And so in my temple, that is the lens from which I teach Ifa. Like that's the lens. When my omos and people that come and begin their journey, they got to start with themselves, and there is no way to get around that. Like if they don't want to do self-love work, I am not the Ianifa for them, because I'm not starting with Orisha. I'm not starting with ancestors. I am starting with self. They must do self love work. I don't honestly care how long they've been in a spiritual walk. You gonna pull this birth chart today, and you're going to learn how to do your numerology today, and you're going to touch a little bit of human design, because I'm going to give you multiple modalities to learn the self. One of those is going to be the one, and it's been really cool to me to watch my godchildren gravitate. So I've got one, and she went into human design and just wormholed, just went straight into the wormhole of learning herself through human design. I have another one that she liked it so much, she decided to start taking a human design class so she can start doing human design reading. I have two of them, astrology. She got four. I only gave them an assignment to do their sun, moon, rising, and midheaven. She's got 4 pages of notes about herself just from them 4 placements. She's like, she got started and went all the way in. That's the point of that exercise, is for them to learn. They're building a foundation. They're giving themselves a nice, good root system, a root structure for which they can grow from. Then they have to do shadow work. Shadow work is ongoing. So even though we spend some time on shadow work, you do shadow work your whole life. You're always going to end up finding a reason to do a little bit of shadow work. There's always going to be a trigger. There's always going to be something. That doesn't mean you're not doing your spiritual practice correctly. You are still, as much as you are gloriously God, goddess, whichever one you resonate, you are still divinely human. That means you're still having a human experience. That means there's still going to be something at some point that you're going to, ooh, that was a trigger. I'll do a little shadow work around that. That's a trigger. I need to do a little shadow work. It doesn't mean you're not spiritual. It doesn't mean you're less than. It doesn't mean you're broken, because in the grand scheme of things, you're not broken. That is an illusion. You're not broken. That's an illusion. You are completely whole. You just don't see yourself completely. You're not broken. That's an illusion. You have always and will always ever be complete. You're not healing, you're illuminating. You're shining light on the parts of yourself that you have ignored, that you have pushed to the side, that you have allowed to be buried deep within. You are not broken. You simply aren't fully illuminated. And then the reality is, if you are God, God is the most high source in human form. The truth is, in most every religion says this, you can't know God in totality. It's impossible. You cannot know the totality of God. And if God's living as you aren't ever going to actually know the totality of yourself. You're going to constantly learn something new about who you are and how you move. And self love is enjoying the learning process. Self love is actively enjoying the process of learning and embracing who you are and how you move and what makes you different from everybody else. So that's why they have to do self love work. That first part of self love work is getting to know themselves. The next part is digging deeper. Let's get into the shadows. What are these shadow things that you need to make sure you start being aware of and cultivating a habit of doing shadow work? The shadow work section is not so they unearth everything, is for them to start cultivating a practice of doing shadow work. The next thing they learn is about their personal mission. This one was inspired by the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I was listening to 7 Habits and he started talking about writing your personal mission and vision statement. You and yeah, and so you work for a company. If you had a job, you have worked for a company, and at bare minimum, you knew their mission. You probably knew their mission, their vision, and their core values. You also have a personal mission, vision, and core values. They may evolve over time as you grow and evolve, but you have a personal mission, vision, and core values. So they get to identify those things. Notice I still ain't said nothing to my ancestors. They still ain't did nothing with ancestors. They still ain't talked about Orisha. They still ain't talked about no rituals, no practice. No, the focus is the self. The focus is the self. All that other stuff is going to come. They got to start with them. And I know when someone's going to stay when based upon, are we going to learn about, you don't learn about you. You don't learn about you. Because in the grand scheme of things, other things, rituals and things, because you still are going to be a member of a temple. So those interactions, you're going to come to Itadogu, you're going to experience divination. All of those things are going to happen. That's that's the bonus. Those are the bonus features. The real prize is you. The real prize when you come to Isheshe is you. That is the real prize. The real prize is you. The real prize is being to embrace and embody and love you. Because when you embrace and embody and love yourself, you are giving honor to God. When you embrace, embody, and love you, you who is God walking in human form, you who was created by the most, that is your offering. That is your gratitude. That is your prayer. That's your most powerful invocation. My ELO day would say the most complicated ritual um, is you. The most complicated ritual is you. You are the most complicated ritual. You are the most sacred of any spiritual tool that you hold. You are an altar to every single aspect of your spiritual core because you're not separate from any of them. You're not separate from your Orisha. You're not separate from your Loa. You're not separate from your Inzuru. You're not separate from your fairies. You're not separate from any of your spiritual court. They all reside in you. The interaction you have with them that seems to be outside of you is just so that you can have an interaction. They're all you because they're all just simply consciousness of the creator emanating in a way to help support you. They are all you. They're all you. And that's the beautiful part of the tradition is recognizing all of these energies are you. All of these energies are in fact you. And being able to love and honor and embrace you builds a deeper connection with them. Um, indeed. So being able to embrace that, that's the beauty of the tradition. That's the absolute magnificence of the tradition. One of the things I told a couple of my godchildren is that if you are embracing Ifa in the way that I feel like our ancestors would have wanted, there isn't a single aspect of your ancestral tradition that you will not end up gravitating towards because you are them. Uh, hold. So, where and when is the Egungun Festival? Because it's really odd the timing of you asking that, and I might say something about it later. But the timing of you asking that is really interesting. So you're gonna have to tell me when and where, so I can see if there is a possibility of that being. Yeah, no, still sorry. Oh, it's an Oyo Tunji. Oh man, see, this is the weekend that I keep the kiddos, and last weekend, so last weekend was initiation weekend, and so I am still in a process of kind of like coming back to earth. I'm still in my coming back to earth process. I'm still in my process of coming back to earth because I had a lot of omos to come and see me, and it was really honestly a beautiful weekend. It was a beautiful weekend, and it was reflect. I would say this weekend solidified that the mission of my temple really is about self love, um, and how that works its way into the tradition. Oh my God. Okay, let me just touch this real quick. This past weekend, when I say we were loved on by the divine, like absolutely, positively loved on by spirit, and then us loving on each other. So like, most of my godchildren live in all, various parts of the country, and so most of them have never seen each other in person. They've only interacted with each other on Zoom, and you can feel the love with them on Zoom, but to experience the love they have for each other. And a lot of times it's funny because you'll go and you'll watch social media and they'll talk about drama. And when I say there is love, like you can't tell them they're not biologically related. They are so enamored with each other in a very familial sense. And it was just beautiful to watch them love on each other. And just, it was like having a bunch of kids. It was like having a bunch of kids, like for real, no, for real. Like, I hope some of them pop in. Because when I say it was like having a bunch of kids in my house, just kiki, 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 it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. And after we closed out, I had two events this past weekend. So on this past Sunday, I held a women's rites of passage. I started a 6-month program just for Black women, and it culminated with the women's rites of passage. And to watch them put, like, each person basically was affirmed by all of their sisters. So one sister sat in the middle, and everybody just took turns walking up, standing with their sister and speaking life and love and power into her. And the amount of healing that was taking place in that moment, in that circle, because we don't get that. We don't get that. And first off, I don't know which one of my ancestors and spirits is loud in this moment, but that came up Sunday. That did come up Sunday. So I do have a temple. It's officially, like, really officially born now. So but yes, that has already been said that I am supposed to be one. Yeah. That came through really strong on Sunday. Uh so yes. Um but they were speaking and the tears were falling. I don't think it was a single soul that didn't cry at least a little bit. Like speaking and the spirit was moving. I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And for those, like, y'all wouldn't know this, but I have been trying to birth that moment, that event for years. I have been trying to birth that moment, that event for years. I started my awakening journey in 2020, and Spirit gave me, you need to host a goddess gathering. Okay. And again, at this point, this is pre Ifa, pre Orisha, pre anything, but that message was clear. You need to do something to bring women together, heavy on the Black women. You need to bring them together. Uh, I told my daughter, Ikaro Jessica, um, like bring these women together. So I kept trying to do it. I kept trying to bring them together. Um, Oh, I shall. Send me an inbox after I get off. Inbox me the date so that I can remember to put it in my phone. Because I am a mommy, and I got grown children, and like mommy brain is a real thing. Mommy brain is a real thing. Please inbox me the date. Um um Who, Jeff? You want the list? You want the list? The list. So settled. I started with Yemoja Shango. I'm also Iyami. Um, in my lineage, we do not have a Hiroisha. It's Desh or Ori. Um, I will tell you the one that's closest to me is Baba Shango is the one that in Yemoja come through most proficiently. But if like now, I got. Uh, I keep telling y'all cannot do that in the chat because he liked that. Like, cannot do that in the because he liked that. And I will lift off. I will go bye bye. So so currently I have 8. So I just won't run through the list. Just know it's 8 of them. Just it's 8. It's 8. It's 8. Right now, today, it's 8. So it's like who's yes. Yep. They'll probably pop in and out. You'll probably be able to notice them. Like they'll pop in and out, especially because it's fresh. They'll probably pop in and out. But the idea that I wanted to bring women together and do something to uplift women and things like that was early, early, very early. By the time I met my ELO day, when I told her what I was doing, she's like, yes, you're already walking in your Iwa Pele. Yes, this is in alignment. This is something you're supposed to be doing. But ego and frustration initially got in the way because I'm like, it's only 1 or 2 people. Like I could only get 1 or 2 people to come, and they would not even. There was also a lack of consistency in even their engagement. But part of that is also because it was free. I am learning more and more that if people don't invest in it, they do not care. So part of it was the inconsistency, and a part of that was probably because it was free, and I didn't feel like at the time people would pay to engage in something I was putting on. So I did a lot of work around. I've done a lot of work around that particular wound that people would not pay to engage in something that I was offering and allowing myself to be worthy of that energy exchange. And so Sunday honestly was this vision that I have had for a minute really starting to be born because I see it even bigger. But to have, I think it was like 10, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So not counting myself, 8. All right, enjoy your sleep, enjoy the festival. 8 Black women in my house. First off, that's the most women, period, in my house ever. Like this has like it was the most women I've ever had in 4 years. I've had actually, if I count in general, this is the most Black women I've had in one space ever outside of when I worked in corporate America. And then to have them all, everyone, love and uplift each other. Just love and uplift each other. The affirmations they spoke, channeling over each other. Like, Odabo, this was the most beautiful outpouring of love that I had ever like it was absolutely radiant. It was absolute magic watching these Black women love each other and heal wounds that they had around. The ritual was to emulate something that I had read for women's rites of passage that would happen normally around the time a girl would get her first goddess cycle. And the idea of the elder women of the tribe, the nation, the village coming together and pouring into her, just pouring into her. And so that's what I simulated is all of us sitting there on this throne and pouring into each other. And it was absolutely, absolute magic. Absolute magic. I cannot wait to do it again. So I know that probably won't be until July or August when I'll do the 6 month program again and I'll open it up for more people to come. And at the end of the 6 months, do it again. Have everybody come here or we meet someplace and we do it again. And I'll just, twice a year, more and more, more and more, more and more, just building on what we've already done. So I was really, I love that. Um, it's funny because the Igungun festival was mentioned, and I was having a conversation earlier about the ancestors with one of my omos, and they were talking about a video they saw where she said that this man was in a house, a cabin, or something, but apparently it was haunted. There were ghosts. And she said the message she got, or, she felt was like people being too comfortable with having foreign spirits in their house. And there all these things happening, things being pushed over, da da da, and they think because they're talking to the spirit, that's enough. No, you're still actually ignoring the spirit. That's what I got. The moment she said that, what I got is you're still ignoring them. What's needed is elevation. They want to go home. They just don't know it. They want to go home. They don't know it and they don't know how to get there because our connection to how we honor those that have transitioned, doing the certain rites and rituals to ensure that not only is their transition gentle, not only is the transition gentle, that's what a death doula does, is help ensure that the transition is gentle, that they go home, that they make it to the ancestral realm, but then also the follow-up work to elevate them so that they continue to grow and progress in the ancestral realm. And that's work is not happening. It's not happening. And there's probably a lot of veneration, which is helping in the elevation process, but there's not elevation work happening. And that's what's needed for a lot of these energies that are being disruptive. It's not, they're frustrated. They want to go home. They want to go home. They want to be venerated and uplifted, and that's not happening. That part is not happening, and that is not a one. It's a one person for their family, but this needs to happen broad scale. One of the things I was talking about is like people who go visit plantations. What you going over there for? What you want to visit plant? I want to go see this plant for why? For why? And I'm like, I'm gonna go to this plantation. I'm gonna take this sage and do what? Piss them off? You're gonna take the sage. I'm gonna sage this plantation. Why? Why? This is where it comes from having spiritual knowledge and a spiritual practice. Spiritual knowledge and spiritual practice. You know enough. You know enough to know that sage does some cleansing, but using sage is a specific type of cleansing. And when you go to places like plantations, or not all of our ancestors were enslaved on plantations, but any place where our ancestors were enslaved, where there were some of them that transitioned in ways that they're, they didn't leave that land. So what are you doing when you go? What is your purpose to go visit? Are you going there to do something to free them from the land? Because if you're not, then don't go. Don't go. You've seen enough movies to know what a plantation looked like. Don't go. And you walking around and ignoring them because you can't see, you can't hear, because you don't have a spiritual practice or where you have done spiritual gymnasium work to allow yourself to even perceive the fact that these energies are looking for help. They're not looking at you to gawk at the places they lived, the places they died. They are looking for help. And so when you go, it's not you. What is your intention in going? Because if you're not going to do that, you're going there to gawk, and then you're no better than them. If you look like me and you're going to visit a plantation and like, oh, I just want to visit it for why? You look like them. You're as bad as they are. You are. I found myself. I went to Savannah, and I didn't like. It was a house. It wasn't a plantation, but it was a house. First and foremost, I was the only person that looked like me. It was just me. I'm sorry. It was one lady, one other lady. Only person that looked like me. Do you know how uncomfortable that is? I was the only person that looked like me. Why are y'all here? What is the entertainment value for you to come here? Why are you coming here? What is your point in coming to a place that your ancestors likely enslaved the people that live here? What is your purpose for coming here? Stay away. Unless you are going to do some work to elevate those spirits, because it's not just a one-sided thing. Elevation needs to happen, period. Period. If we want to seek a collective change, that we need to do the practical work. Keep doing practical things to help in society. But the spiritual folk, the eight Gungun priestess, we're supposed to be doing a different kind of work. Coupled with that, we do the practical things, but we're supposed to be doing a different kind of work. If we go visit these places, we are supposed to be helping these souls go home. We're supposed to be helping them go home. We're supposed to be guiding them back to the ancestral realm and helping them elevate. We're supposed to be bringing about healing, because the healing then doesn't stay still. Healing is not stagnant energy. It vibrates outward. It's like an energy blast. It's like an energy blast of healing medicine that goes forward, backward, and side to side. It's like an energy blast. And when you do it for not just those of our enslaved ancestors, because whether you want to acknowledge it or not, some of them slave owners are also our ancestors. Some of those slave owners are also our ancestors. And at least per the conversation I had with my Igungu, they too need elevation. Why? Because see, that windfall of money you keep hoping to get is locked in with them. They need elevation so they can give it to you. It's locked in with them. They need help elevating so they can give it to you. I got that one day. It's like, you want to go to the ancestors for money, but you're not going to the right ones. You're not going to the right ones. So unless you had like a really, 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 really wealthy ancestor that looked like you, chances are the ancestor that actually has your money, that wants to pay you reparations from the spiritual realm, don't look like you. They don't look like you. Ancestor elevation work is a complete process. It's not a cherry picking process. If you feel like you need to cherry pick, then maybe it's not you that's meant to do the work, because you're still caught up in your egoic self, in the pain, in the wound. Ancestor elevation work is about healing and releasing the wounds. It's about releasing them from those wounds. But you want to take your wounds into your process and hold that grudge until you are only doing half the work. And that's not the case. Stop taking sage to the plantations or them other places where our ancestors were enslaved. Stop taking sage. Take some instance that they can, that's going to help elevate their spirit. take some incense, and do an elevation ritual. Somebody on TikTok asked about what's it, how do you, oh, hold on. There you go. Sorry, TikTok want me to verify that I'm still here, even though I'm still sitting here talking, but whatever. Um, so somebody asked about how do you elevate your ancestors. That is definitely a lineage specific thing. If you are not attached to an ATR, at bare minimum, I'm not going to tell you that you need to be a part of ATR, but the first thing you need to do is actually establish a relationship with your honorable ancestors first. You need to do ancestor veneration work first. And my personal suggestion is it needs to be consistent for at least 30 days. You need to be venerating your ancestors. And this is going to be one of those ones where you probably going to need a focal point if you're planning to do elevation work. But again, I would say, go off of your lineage. But I would say this in a general, you don't have a lineage. You're not someone that's got a heavy spiritual practice, but you want to begin. This ain't a beginner thing. This is not on your own. Not on your own. This is something where I would say if you're a beginner, you need to be venerating for a minute, just establishing rapport, letting them know, hey, I am like, even if you don't have an ancestor altar, you're the altar. Cool. You're sitting someplace, however you feel like it needs to be quiet. You want to have some music going in the background, but intentionally sitting with your ancestors and communicating. Introduce yourself. Hi, I am so and so, and I am the son, daughter, child of this person and that person. And I am just beginning my process of honoring you, my honorable ancestors. And so I just want to talk and let you get to know me and tell them about you. Tell them about your day, tell them about your life, tell them about you. Start there. Start there. If you feel really called to an ancestor altar, okay, cool. Set up an altar. Do the altar basics. A cloth. You could start with white. If your ancestors call you to a different color, trust your gut. But start with a white cloth, a glass, not a glass or some other natural material with water in it, heavy on the glass because it's transparent. Um, Something that represents fire, so that can be a candle or something else that's light. Like my children are no respecter of flames, personally. My children are no respecter of flames. I don't know if it's because they're both almost Shango or what, but they are no respecter of flames. So I have a light that stays on my altar, because what we're not going to do is waste a bunch of candles because my kids keep sticking stuff in them. So go with what you need to do. Something that represents earth. Earth is easy. I don't have to explain earth. Something that represents earth, and something that represents air. Air is a bit more cryptic. So air is generally something that would be in or going into the air. So incense or feathers are common, but you may get a little creative. You might put a little fan on there. I don't like, and a fan came to me. I don't know if a fan belongs to somebody else or because I need to turn my AC on, but a fan came to me, like a little small little fan, because especially if you're trying to make your altar incognito, then you're like, oh, okay, it's like a little fan, a little Himalayan salt lamp or something. They might just think it's something else. If you got to, do a little cloak and dagger work, so they don't know what it is, but something to represent air. And some people add the extra fifth element of spirit. So whatever that is. So some people, if you grew up in a family and the ancestors that practice Abrahamic traditions, it might be a Bible. I grew up as Hebrew, so the thing that represents spirit is a bracelet that I have with the Star of David on it. That's on my altar. So it kind of just depends on you. Some people it might be an ankh. Some people might be multiple symbols. I think I have the Tree of Life that's altar up, also up there as well. So multiple symbologies of spirit, and you're not limited to one version of that element, just as long as you have the elements present. If you have pictures, cool. You can include pictures of your ancestors. They just don't need any living people in them. So if you have a picture of you and your grandma's an ancestor, don't use that picture. Find a picture of grandma by herself. Find a picture. If you don't have pictures, I told Cezanne I didn't have pictures. And so I have pictures now, but I still have the letter I wrote to my ancestors. That's what I did. And I simply included all the surnames of people that I knew, of the people, so that I didn't have to do like a whole long list of individuals. So it is like, peace, love, light, and elevation to all of my honorable ancestors, names known and unknown, from the lines of, and then it's just got last names. The only individual name that's on there is my son. But other than that, everybody else is just last names. And then you just talk. Like, if you're in a tradition where there's prayers, use those. But even in that, make it authentic to you. So you don't have to do the prayers in a way where it is always like scripted. In fact, that's better if it's not. Like, talk just talk to them and just say what is on your heart to be said in that moment. If there's like, I want to play some music, then play some music, play some drums or something. But it does not have to be always a scripted, super formalized process when you're honored. It needs to be you. It needs to be authentic. So, like the other night, I think last week, in honoring the ancestors, I was in a music frame of mind. I was not in a formal prayers in Europe or anything else. I am in a music frame of mind. So I am in a space of, let me play some. What did I play first? I think I played Beyonce and Kendrick Lamar Freedom. I don't know, they like it. Then it was like Earth, Wind, and Fire Fantasy. Like I was just running through. It's like I was an ancestor DJ and I was just playing music and singing for the ancestors. That's what I wanted it to look like. It doesn't have to be this stale moment. It needs to be yours. It's your moment and your family. So start there. And I would say at least 30 to 60 days before you even think about attempting to do any elevation work. They don't know you. They know you, but you don't know them like that. That's probably a better way to put it. They've been watching you your whole life if they transitioned before you were born. You don't know them. You don't know them, so you need to establish a rapport and relationship for your side, and then how that y'all want to engage with each other. Then, and only then, after you've done some real veneration work, then will I say, yeah, look into elevation. From that part, get with an elder. Even if you don't join their lineage, get with one for that. So you don't have to clash. Everybody's lineage has a similar thing. So they ask for my lineage, what the process will be. So it's not a clash. Every lineage is going to have their own process. And yes, you're right. Veneration is a form of elevation itself. But then there's also additional work that may need to be done that's beyond just basic veneration. So the conversation was around that. And the answer was based upon from myself personally. But thank you. Um, so making sure that you're doing something to that effect. And then if you can't find a ritual for doing that extra, doing the extra, just straight elevation work, then you get with somebody. Like my lineage, we have a ritual for that is going to be used. And when it goes to broader, there will be a ritual for that, for a bigger scale. So because not everybody is going to be able to, there's people who's there has not been any veneration happening. And so, on a broader scale, as things begin to progress, there needs to be work to be done on a much, much larger scale. And starting with your own lineage is the best place to begin, personally. So, before I forget, it was not on topic, and that's why I didn't answer the question earlier. But somebody asked about angel numbers. So, I'll call them back in a second. Somebody asked about angel numbers. So I want to answer that question before I forget because I'm getting close to my 90 minutes. So if they're still in here, someone asked about angel numbers, like to understand them. So this is my suggestion on angel numbers. One, in a very general sense, if you are new on your conscious spiritual journey, meaning you have not established a spiritual practice or ritual, and things of like practice or ritual and things of that nature that has established a communication. When you're seeing angel numbers at the beginning, they're just to get your attention. They in that moment are likely not inherently a message. They are just simply to say, oh yeah, we we've got we've got you. We got your attention. Hey, look at me. I'm trying to talk to you. Hey. But if you don't have a spiritual, you may be reading spiritual books and doing spiritual things, but if you don't have a spiritual practice that has you communing with spirit, then you don't know what to do with that information other than, oh my God, they're trying to get my attention. Once you establish actually having a spiritual practice where you have gone simply beyond books and videos, but you're actually establishing a relationship that invites you to have a connection with spirit, at that point, then you might want to start trying to dig into, first and foremost, who's trying to talk to you? Who's sending you angel numbers? Is it literally angels? Because angels, in some instances, is an overarching term for divine energy. It may not just be an angel sending you the angel numbers. It could be, but you have to determine who is sending you the numbers, because then that can help you determine why a specific number. The other part is recognizing when the number happens, what's happening. Angel numbers are typically a synchronicity, um, less than a sign, unless you are purposely calling for the number. Otherwise, it's likely a synchronicity, meaning it's associated with something that just recently happened, a thought, an idea, an exchange, and then boom, you see this number. So, for instance, if I'm teaching something, like I've got 11:33 on the clock now, my time. So, if I'm teaching something or something to that effect, and I catch an angel number, this is a confirmation around the thing that I'm teaching. Heavy on the times when I get 11:11, because for me, 11:11 is my life path number. 11 is my life path number, and it stalks me. So 11 is my life path number. Then 11:11 specifically looks like an Odu. So that again, that's how spirit speaks to me. Spirit understands, because I've said 11 is my life path number, and it reminds me of an Odu. So if I see 11:11 myself, it's giving me something around my life path, my destiny, and encouraging me to keep going in that direction because I am in alignment. So this comes to understanding not just what the numbers means, because somebody else can see all ones and it's like, this is new beginnings, cardinal energy, initiation energy, because that's what one energy represents. This is divine, the masculine needs something, need to take an action. But a lot of times when I get that number, I'm already taking the action. So recognizing that in that regard. So making sure that you're journaling these experiences. So like, okay, I was thinking about this and I saw these numbers. I was doing this and I saw those numbers, because there may be a correlation there. And if you keep getting them and you're like, I never know what these mean, again, this goes back to having an actual practice as opposed to taking in spiritual knowledge. You can take in all the knowledge all day, every day, and that's a beautiful thing. But if you do not find a way to practically apply the spiritual wisdom that you're getting, if you don't have an elder helping to cultivate how you communicate with spirit, it's going to be confusing. And that's why. That's why almost every ATR that I have ever heard about says you need an elder, not to tell you what to do, to help you mold how you do it. Let me say that again, because I felt like something here. The elder is not there to tell you what to do. It is to help you cultivate how you do your relationship with spirit. That is what the elder is doing. They are supposed to be helping you cultivate your own spiritual practice. There will be things y'all do in community, and that is your community, but you still are supposed to have an individual one-on-one relationship, because your destiny was not a conference call with the elder. Your destiny was a conference call between you and your Ori. So making sure you are cultivating your individualized practice that works in harmony with your community practice is important. That's important. So this way, when you're talking or you're communing with spirit, you can tell them, hey, the angel numbers are all cool and all, but you know what? They don't work for me. I like the angel numbers. They're cool and all, but they don't work for me, or they don't work for me all the time. So it's asking them to only show you angel numbers in specific scenarios, or take it as like, if I see an angel number and I didn't have a prayer or anything, I'm simply going to take this as you're just saying hi, or you want to get my attention. You need to establish how the angel numbers resonate with you and verbally, out loud, communicate to your spiritual court, because you are the sovereign in the situation. What is it about this angel number that works for you? So, like if I see B333, that sticks to me because why? That is my soul urge number. So, like, if you don't know your numerology chart, like real talk, like you really don't know how those numbers speak to you. So, my phone is hot in a way that it's never. When I say it is never hot this morning, Lafia, yeah. So understanding that when you get those angel numbers, when I see sevens, it resonates in a specific way because I know where 7 is in my numerology chart. So they understand how to speak to me through the numbers because I have established that as a means of good communication with me. Thank you for the glitter badges, my dear. I have established a relationship with them and communicated this is how this works for me. But I've also had days where I've told them, hey, I don't want an angel number today. This is a scenario, and I need another kind of sign that is more specific. And you also can ask them for a specific sign. So the particular day I didn't want angel numbers, they gave me my last name. Thank you for the lightning bolt in the crown. Thank you. I asked them for a specific sign. Give me something I can't miss. I see angel numbers all day. That's because of my vibration. I'm always going to attract angel numbers. It doesn't matter the situation. I always see angel numbers. So I need something other than an angel number if you want me to pay attention to it. Give me something else. Go ahead. Hold your bill. I'll hold your bill. Go ahead and give me something else. So thank you, my love. Give me something else. That was very specific. That was very specific. Asking them to give it to you specific. I had a spiritual career coaching client. So she was wanting to get some help in getting some movement in her career realm, and we were doing it both practical and spiritual. And so when we were talking about signs, she was talking about her dad, and I said this as a joke. She didn't need to take this particular sign, but she did. I was like, have him show you a pink pig. Tell him to show you a pink pig. If he heard your prayer, tell him to show you a pink pig. And I was like, or something else. But she decided that the pink pig was cool. And then she texted me within 24 hours, less than 24 hours. And she's like, oh my God. I went to Facebook after doing my prayers, and this is what I saw. And one of her friends had changed their profile picture to Miss Piggy, a pink pig. And it was like, oh, that's nice. That's nice. Thank you. Thank you. What time for the mothers? They saw it and it was like, oh my God. And I'm like, that's all you have to do is say something. It's not that God, the universe, angels that stop speaking to us. We don't tell them what to say. We aren't specific enough in our prayers. We are not specific enough in our prayers. Like, what is the sign that you want? What do you want to see? And tell them. Tell them. I told somebody, like, do 5 wonders, and it's like, oh, well, they're not a pony. It's not about being a pony. You are establishing a rapport, and they're not human. The idea that they will feel like stop making your spirits human. They're not. Stop applying egoic behaviors to your spiritual court because they are not human. Your ancestors aren't human. The Orisha are not human. God, not human. So though they may influence certain things in our human experience, at the end of the day, human logic and reaction is exactly, tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me if it ain't good enough for you, babe. Tell me, like you have to tell them so they know how to talk to you. Some of y'all be having some of that extra stuff happen in your house. So you be like, oh my God, they just be so disruptive. That's because you ain't told them to stop. Duh. That's because you told them to stop. Hey. You want me to keep on this journey? You know what's not going to keep me there? You bumping against my wall all night. Can you not? Here's a better way to communicate with me, because that ain't it. That's going to have me turn my back and go the other way. That's going to have me turn around and go the other way. And you know what? Know why it works? Because your Ori is king, queen. Yes, that you are the sovereign, and your Ori makes that so. Let me say that again. Hold on. You are the sovereign, and your Ori makes that so. Your Ori makes that so. That's the beauty. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of well, hold on. Can you text that to me so I don't forget it? You'll know I'll be downloading like those one-liners and I'll be forgetting. Can you please text that to me? You are the sovereign and your Ori makes oh yeah. Ori likes that one. They like that. They like that one. That's the one right there. That's the one. You are the sovereign and your Ori makes it so. There is an Itan. Uh, Alafia, yeah. Call me tonight when you get off. I gave some homework in the group, but it's probably way down there by now. But call me and I'll walk you through the homework that I gave to everybody, and then we're gonna talk about it more because we're not gonna start doing the work until the end of next month. So yeah, just call me when you get off work. I got you, Shawty. I got you. Ashe. Ashe. Who chair? Look. Oh goodness. Oh, that's what's up. That's a like you are the sovereign and your Ori makes it so boy. I can't wait to see what that graphic I make is gonna look like. Oh, that's gonna be exciting. That's gonna be exciting. So exciting. Um, I am in a place right now with Ifa and the tradition where it is just pure love. Like that's the best way I can describe it. And I'm about to carry off for 1 second because I don't have the air on. And between my energy and the fact that it's probably just hot, I gotta turn the AC on. Oh yeah, because it's yeah, it's doing the most. The thermostat is absolutely doing the most. Okay. So my relationship with Ifa has come to a place where it's like, there we go. Sorry, y'all shaking. Y'all settle for a second. Be myself. Be myself and love it and embrace it and revel in it. Like be myself. Be myself. Don't try to be nobody else. And I think that's the thing that I think is like if my Alafia Orishadi will do well for the roses. Um, when recognizing the reason why we have so many stories about Odisha where they're not perfect is so that we don't strive for that. When they find a solution to what's going on in those Itans, it is when they start to walk as themselves. It is in honoring who they are and getting out of their own way, not being perfect. At no point does any of them ask us to be perfect. Even when you look at Obatala, that story is the epitome of we're not meant to be perfect. We are meant to be who and what we are. And we are one that molds one cannot. And I'm just like, we're not forgotten. In our imperfections, we're not forgotten. We are not being punished If you are sitting in this space watching this, whether you're catching it live or not, you are not being punished by any of the divine. Let me say that one more time with my whole chest, all 40 something, whatever alphabet it is. You are not being punished by the divine. If you have walked away from an Abrahamic tradition, if you've walked away from Abrahamic tradition and you have found yourself coming to spirituality, whether that's through ATR, Wiccan, or something else, and you are still using language that you are going to be punished by spirit, you still have some work to do to heal your relationship with the divine. You still have healing work to do around your relationship with the divine because they are not punishing you. The moment you become in a journey where you're consciously aware of your connection with spirit. Thank you so much for the roses, Dee Dee. Where you're recognizing your relationship with spirit, your conscious relationship with spirit, and how you are co-creating your process. Recognize at that moment of awareness, you are not being punished by the divine. You were not punished previously, and you're certainly not being punished now. Everything from that moment on, for real, like once you become good and grown and adult, and then you also add this on top of it, accountability. Hold yourself accountable. There is not, like, recognizing, even for myself growing up as an Israelite, there is no devil in Judaism. There isn't one. In fact, it only exists in one tradition. There is no bad guy. There's no bad guy. That doesn't mean there aren't negative energies, but at the end of the day, it is still your decision-making process on what you allow into your energetic space. You are accountable. When you pray, stop praying for a thimbleful of water from the ocean. I'm sorry, when you invoke, because pray means to beg. When you are invoking your blessings, let me say that. When you are invoking your blessings, do not invoke a thimbleful of water from the ocean. The world is abundant. Call in what it is you're looking for. My current BFF is a Baba. And he was like, don't pray for money, pray for the house. Because you might get gifted a house. When you pray for money, you are limiting yourself and how that manifestation is going to come forward. Money is a tool to get the other things. So pray for the other things and allow them to manifest for you the way that they need to. If it's going to be through money, the money is going to come. Pray for the other thing. And I was like, yo, that's a word. Don't pray for the house. Don't pray for the money, pray for the house. Don't pray for the money, pray for the car. If you're meant to get that by way of money and a job and things of that nature, those things are going to come. Or it's going to come in a different way. I've told this before, but I have a lot of newer folks in this live. But earlier this year, I needed like 2 G's. And I needed it in 36 hours. I needed 2 G's and I needed it in 36 hours. And what did I do? I consulted of my head. And I mean that. I went to my Ori. I didn't cast Ifa. I didn't go to my ancestors. I did what in Isheshe is the first line of attack, if you will. I went to my Ori. I was like, hey, Sean, I need 2 G's. And I'm open to how it's going to come, but I need 2 G's. And I need it in 36 hours. Is it in alignment for you to do that? Yes. Is there anybody else involved? I need to get that. No, it's just me. Okay, cool. Bet. What's the emblem? You already know. And I did. I had a dream about it. I didn't know why I dreamt it, but in that moment I knew. I dreamt about shrimp. Okay, cool. I went to Captain D's and I bought some shrimp. Why did I go to Captain D's? Because in the dream, I sucked at cooking shrimp. Somebody had to cook it for me. So I went and bought some shrimp. I went and bought the shrimp. I gave the offering. Then I cast Ifa. Then I went to Ifa. And Ifa said, you're good, but do not run away from your obligations. All right, then cool. Cardinal people called. But I talked to them. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I talked to them. I gave them what I had on hand. I got $1,500 from one source and the other 500 from another. I didn't do no divinations. I didn't do no Reiki sessions. I didn't do no tarot card readings. Two sources not associated with, I didn't do any work other than give the info. That's what I did. And within 36 hours, I had the money. It's not always going to come from work. And you need to be open to that. So you've been told all our life, because trust me, I'm the same way. You're told all your life, the only way I'm going to get this money is I got to give something away. I got to do a service. I am giving something away. I give my offerings. I give devotion. Today's been devotion. Like when I did my O'Shea earlier, all they wanted was devotion. That's all they wanted. Like, give us your devotion. Sing to us. That's your offering. And that always makes me cry. I had just turned 41, 42. Yeah, because I just turned 45. Just turned 40. So I had just turned 42. So imagine how much of your life, my life, I had spent in order to get this, you got to work hard. You got to grind. You got to do this. You got to get you don't triumph unless you have trauma. That's the story. That's the story they tell you. And then you come home. You come home to one of your ancestral traditions, and they tell you, you have always been worthy of all the abundance, Ire, good fortune that you have ever imagined in your life. You just simply needed to walk and know that it was yours. Your energy exchange might be a cola nut. Like, have you ever seen a cola nut? Cola nut, like, I wish I had one close by. Just like this big. This is how much I need to get. One. That's it. That's it. Ifa is more effective than medicine because it's medicine in itself, and it's nurturing to your being. It is in you being the fullness of who you are that unlocks your Ire, because what you desire does in fact desire you. What you did, actually, coconut's about like that big. What you desire does in fact desire you. And when you walk as who you truly are, that is the PIN number to your spiritual ATM. That is what unlocks your Ire, because then the thing that desires you can recognize you. See, when you're out here and you're trying to be something that you're not, you're trying to walk in a way that you're not, you're trying to practice something that you're not, you can't get the fullness of it. It's like, I think that might be that. I'm going to give them a little bit, but I don't know if I could give them the whole blessing, because they don't, I don't know. That's not quite them. It feels a little bit like them, but it's not quite them. So that's why you get it in like these bursts, these spurts. It's not like it's not like that big, like you get these spurts of it. And so you are content in the spurts. But Ifa says, oh, it can come much better than that. It can absolutely come much better than that. But you have to open up to who you are. And even me as an Ianifa, I am still embracing more and more of the fullness of who I am. The message came through Sunday so big and so strong. And I was like, ooh, child, just call me Noah, because I don't know if I'm supposed to build this ark. Wait, just call me Noah, because that's a big old ark you asking me to build. And then like, it's okay. You already know how to build it. You already know how to build it. I don't know how to put it into words to sit with the divine, to sit with your creator, and know that they love you just as who you are. They have always loved you. They never judged you. Your humans around you judged you. They have always loved you and simply wanted you to love yourself the way that they love you. And when you let yourself be loved by yourself, the way they love, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. That's a different kind of, that's different. That's different. For all my single folks, understand that list you got of your person, you can have it. That list that you have of your person, for my single people, that list you have that you think is too much on that list, you can absolutely have it. And I'm going to say you can have it. I'm going to tell you, you can have at least 95% of that list. 95. They talk about 80 in these movies. No, you can have like 95, 96, 97, 98. Like real talk. There has honestly, in the person who has shown up, and the way that it's, the way I know that I had to walk in my EY Pele, the way I had to walk in my EY Pele to allow this to manifest. Because if I had not walked in my EY Pele, the first time Ifa told me my Ebo was to post a blog about Ifa, I wouldn't have done it. When Ifa told me to do that Instagram post about something related to Ifa Orisha, I wouldn't have done it. When the word came through for me to do a TikTok, and I was like, ooh, I wouldn't have done it. The first time I did a TikTok video and somebody decided that they wanted to say something about my gap, as if I hadn't been living with my gap for 40 something years, but they didn't want to say something about my gap, I would have stopped doing TikToks. The first time that I decided to go live and they said, ooh, you got a body like Shrek, I wouldn't have done it. I would have stopped. I would have quit. But I didn't quit and I didn't stop. Every time I tried to host a class, even the ones for free, and there's only one or two people coming through, I would have stopped. If I had stopped, the post that got me noticed by that person never would have been posted. Them posting and the post where I noticed them, I wouldn't have noticed because I wouldn't have been on TikTok. I wouldn't have been on TikTok. I would not have slid in their DM when they slid in my live and said something to them. When I was wanting to do this event for Black men, and every single Black man that I knew personally in my life that I asked directly if they would come support and said yes and didn't show up, I would have canceled the event. But instead, my Ori was like posted on TikTok. That was not my plan. I posted it on TikTok. And then they were like, I'm coming. And Ashe, and they're like, they said I'm coming. And I'm like, okay. And I just thought they were talking until they paid. I got a notification. You just got paid because they bought tickets. And I'm like, oh, snap, they coming. And then when I realized it was only going to be them, and I had never done anything Ifa specific for someone outside of my lineage. I had never done anything related to Ifa and invited people that were not born in the same lineage as me. Because when you go on social media, there are so many times all you see is the backbiting. Well, you're not doing it right. Only my lineage does it right. Da 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 da. You see the spiritual gang banging. It puts you on guard. And even though I had never had a negative interaction with this individual on social media, that's different. We're off social media at this point. But I did it anyway. And when they finally let me see them, and I was like, ooh, hey. And I got off of there and realized I didn't want to stop talking to them. And my Ori was like, slide in the DM. What? Slide in the DM now? What is wrong with you? Okay. So I did. And what is this, the 23rd? So it's been about 7 months. And honestly, other than height, almost everything I could have possibly said, whether it was journaled, said out loud about my person, is this person. When I say, I will like say, Olodumare molded this person for me. They couldn't have molded them for anybody else. They could not have molded this person for anybody else but me. Anybody else for me. But if I had not been walking in my Iwa Pele and doing the things that I needed to do, I would have missed my blessing. I would have missed it because that was the way it needed to come forward. I would have missed my blessing. Your blessing is waiting for you, but it's waiting for the most authentic you. The more authentic you are, the more aligned the blessing is going to be. So I'm gonna leave y'all with that, only because when my kids get therapy, just call me. So I need to call them back. I need to call them back. I need to end this here because I need to figure out why are y'all calling me since my sister should have my children. So I hope that you got something from this live that nourished you, that filled your cup. I won't promise another live the rest of this week because I'm definitely still in recuperation mode from all the festivities from last week. But hopefully, I'll get back to doing these once a week again. But if you would like to interact with us, by all means, feel free to follow me. Yeah, follow me on all the things. And I hope that y'all have a beautiful rest of your day. Oh, double. That's not touchscreen. This one is touchscreen. This one over here.